here we go, guys. The epic 86 series cab versus the Soundguard cab. For generations, this war has been raging on. The only arguments that I know that have been more intense and longer lasting are in the Middle East. I don't know if they get as heated though. This 86 series cabs, guys, this is all just in good fun. This actually is just a super clean older tractor, but I like to pick on the international guys. I think part of it is from, as a kid growing up, we had the Farmalls, we had a Massey, and we had a John Deere. And all of them were really great for their time. The Massey 1100 treated us very well. The Farmalls treated us very well. And the 4320 treated us fantastic. But I had a couple neighbors that were redhead. I mean, they would fight to the death. That no matter what you were talking about, if you were talking about apples in the grocery store, somehow they could turn that around to an IH apple harvester is better than a John Deere. I mean, they were so, and so growing up with that constant from them, it was almost more fun growing up, or it was more fun picking on or you know, as a little kid to a grown adult of just, you'd say that one smart comment and then smile and walk away and listen to them yell at you and try and come back. But anywho, the fun of it. So let's enter this cab. So first thing is the door is on backwards. I don't know if anybody ever told International about that, but the door's on backwards. At least it opens up fairly okay, so we can get in, but the door by nature wants to, well, this one stays actually. Most of them are wore out, but my right elbow, if there's mud on the tire, I'm leaning against that tire, and we climb up. We get in the seat. Well, there's no tilt steering, first of all. So the seat is all the way back. It's all the way back. You can see my knee right against there. If we move the throttle up like I'm in the field, there's room, but at idle, well, I guess my knees don't hit the throttle. If the torque is back and I go to clutch, my knee is banging the torque. That is one of the biggest complaints. The other big complaint is the angle of my legs. I'm just kind of here. I have nowhere to really put my feet. And then the control, my 1, 2, 3, 4 here, your high, low, reverse. PTO isn't so horrible. PTO is not one of them things that you do 1,000 times a day. It's you turn it on for the day and shut it off for the day. The shifting isn't so horrible over here. Compared to the older quadrants in the 06 and 66s that was up here, it was easy to get that old 1066 I drove for the guy. What was it? If you missed the thing, you'd accidentally get in between reverse and low high or something like that. I remember that being kind of a cluster. Then your hydraulics over here, that's a lot better than the other ones that had it on the floor with the big stick right here. 3-point, that isn't so bad. This isn't so terrible here. The guy really can't complain. 86 series, they started to come with their version as an option. I don't know if it was on all the 86 or just on the larger 86s, but they actually did come with some pressure compensating hydraulic systems so you could start to run orbit motors and stuff. But then the headliner, I mean, I got two fingers above my head, so there is no room for that. And then your controls up here. But the biggest thing is the shifting is pretty tough. I think in the 88 series, they came with more synchros. Then the shifting moved over to the right here. And then they had more of that console, so you weren't climbing over this so much, getting in and out of the cab. And then their stiff power steering. yeah, this would be the biggest part, is just no room for me right here. Now let's go see what the Deere cab looks like in comparison. Oh, I almost forgot. The famous crack in the Soundguard cab from all the old redhead guys is, well, with that line in the cab, you have a muffler and an air cleaner right out there. Yeah, because International never had a muffler or anything sticking out of their hood. Let me get out of this cab. Ouch, my ankle. Oh, it's so rough. Oh, I gotta lean here. I hope I don't hurt my hand. Ow, oh, whew, okay. Barely made it. Oh, I also forgot to mention the visibility. Wait, we gotta climb right back in. Ow, the door hit me. Oh my God, ow, I banged my knee. The visibility. I wonder if I strap this to my forehead. Can you see what I'm seeing? I don't see a hitch, but hey, we put this mirror up here so we can see our drawbar. Yeah. To a little kid, this area was great, because as a little toddler, you could just lay up here all day long and watch the implement run. So that was the great part. And if you had duals, you could watch the duals sit and turn by. And as a little toddler, nothing is more cool than watching that. On a good note, they have a right-hand door. Took John Deere a lot of years to wake up to a right-hand door. And it took John Deere a lot of years to wake up to a step. To the old 30 series cab, first of all, because I believe an 86 series is somewhere between the 30 and 40 series, or maybe it is a late 40 series. This is an early 30 series. So this would be like a 73, 74 model here. You had the, like all Deeres, you had your controls here. We can shut the door. You had your joint there, which isn't too bad. We still got great loader visibility. PTO, you got tilt steering, which I can get all the steering telescopes just like the binder. You don't have some of the side room, because on the binder the cab went straight down here, so then this panel would have been pushed out and you had storage room behind you and stuff like that. We got good visibility all around, and out the back we have good visibility. Decent, okay controls. For a loader tractor, this would be more comparable to like a 1066. We had tremendously better hydraulics on these tractors than a 66 series. The 86 series, they started really stepping up their hydraulics to be more competitive. But Deere had a good system, and the power steering is tremendously stronger on the Deere. With a loader, I can still turn while driving with minimal effort with a full load on the forks. The binders were that much stiffer even with no load. The quad range back then was similar to the IH, except the IH you had your high low reverse on one lever, and then you had your 1 2 3 4 on this lever. The big advantage to the Deere back then was we have a synchronized shift. You have a power shift this way, just like the TA. So this right to left replaces the TA. In fact, the components down inside, they're both very similar. The weakness to the TA was they put a Sprague clutch in there. If they would have come up with something other than that Sprague clutch, like Deere's did with two separate clutch packs and hydraulics and splines, the TA would have been bulletproof The aftermarket is really taking care of that. But in the Deere, this replaces your high, low, and reverse lever, so to speak. This replaces your TA right to left, and then you have a synchronized shift from one column to the next, so you can fly down the road. This one is not synchronized, so for the most part, you had to pick your range and then move through your gears in that range. Hauling regular manure wasn't so terrible. You could, when you came back to neutral, you could grind shift a little bit. You know, you get wound up in C, and then you could grind it into D, and then come back and start over on here. Yeah, hauling manure tank, I'm trying to picture. Hauling manure tank wasn't so bad. Back then, you for the most part, you'd use a lower gear, you know, like C1 or B1, get up onto the flat. Then you could jump into D1 and get going, and then just finish out the driveway in D1, click D2, shift to 3, then 4, and you were heading down the road. On the binder, you start out at like in high 1, and then with any luck, you could keep shifting through the gears. Sometimes if you lost it, you almost had to come to a complete stop and start over again. Kind of frustrating. But yeah, overall very similar. You know, I can really stretch out. Sometimes during the day, I can stretch this leg out. I let it ride on top of the brake if I have to, like when we're cutting hay. But yeah, just a not too bad of a cab for in the 70s. considering that 73, you were only a few years into having roll guards and any sort of safety. In 73, you still had how many farmers out there around the country that still had horses? But yeah, well, let's look at the 4640 cab and a little bit of changes there. And whatnot. This one had the spring ride seat, very quickly to adjust the ride height, but it was a spring ride seat with some limitations. All right, let's find a John Deere. Hey, we're in luck. I will say that it's very sad that it took John Deere 30 years to come with a real step. That it's kind of frustrating. They had them stupid little pads that I wish I could go find the engineers of them days and walk up behind them and take my boot and kick them real hard in the back of the calf. Just step up to the back of his calf and just kick down hard like that, because that's what it felt like every time your boot was covered in mud and you stepped on that little pad and it slipped off, and then that step scraped up the back of your foot. God, I hated them things. So we have a mess. But we've got a nice entryway. I'm still standing, I'm not leaning. We get in here, the seat is down. Let me close the door. So the seat is down, but it's still all the way back. So I can stretch my leg. Look at the angle of my knee. I don't mind letting my foot run there. I can't do it to the right side very well because that's kind of where I keep all my garbage. But you had all your hydraulics right here, your transmission controls right here. Yep, we've got the joint in the cab with the muffler and the air cleaner right there. But that is really a not issue, I guess, when I'm doing field work. We have a nice tilt steering. Both tractors had the telescoping. With the seat all the way up, I come close to the roof, but I have a little more room than the International. We don't have the big headliner to dip down right at the front of my forehead. And visibility out the back, I can see my drawbar, I can see my 3-point very easily. We have a lot better visibility. you get to the mechanics side of it, the final drives are heavier on the Deeres. International had a good engine. Both companies had good engines. John Deere's tried choking them down with the stupid Aneroid. International, like they said, in the 88 series, they finally came out with synchronizers that could shift like the John Deere Power Quad, where you could just shift on the fly and move a lot better. 88 series, they started to add a lot better hydraulic capacity, things like that. But yeah, just as far as cab goes, I don't have, let's see, that cab, because of the big area behind the seat, you had a great spot for your cooler and a water jug and stuff like that. So I really don't have a great spot in here for that, and that's okay. It's kind of frustrating sometimes. The roll of duct tape is my cup holder. I can tuck a 1 gallon water jug in the corner. Otherwise, for the most part, I leave my water pail and my lunch at the pickup. Otherwise, like every one of you guys know, if your lunch pail is behind you in the cab or down here by you in the cab or by your feet here, what happens is you eat your whole lunch within 2 hours of getting to the field, and then the rest of your day you're hungry. It's just a more natural movement from your foot to the pedals is just more of a natural movement, less of a lift for me. It just, I don't know. And we got a diff lock. I don't know when IH ever came out with a diff lock. I think that was in 2011. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe it was 2011. They finally came with a diff lock. I'm just kidding. But yeah, let's have a little fun. Let's rip on each other a little bit for this one, the John Deere versus IH, and keep it clean. But no, I will get, if somebody starts, we did not mention the TA of the binder. We don't need to go down that ugly path. I remember rebuilding the transmission we put in an aftermarket TA that was supposed to have like a 5-year warranty. It was a huge upgrade versus the stock one. And rebuilding the transmission had the tech manual right there, and there's a big nut at the bottom, and it says take this nut to 300 pounds. If you can't get the nut to 300 pounds, then whatever you get. And I had to absolutely chuckle that they had a spec and then a footnote saying, well, if you can't get it tight enough, then that's fine. Just get it as tight as you can. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. That transmission rattled and clanked when you put it back together, because the gears can float on the shaft, where the John Deeres are way over engineered. Everything is done with a 0 end play or a couple thousandths end play or a tiny bit of crush on tapered. Everything was tapered roller bearings in the transmission, where the Case IH or the old International Harvester was just big ball bearings and shafts, and everything just kind of floated and moved around and did what it wanted to do. And you had to have a clutch brake, but yeah, that's my spiel. Then we can argue about inboard planetaries and large wet disc brakes versus the small brake on the bull gear and its gear reduction effect. I think that the little brake does very well because it still runs through the gear reduction. You can't pick on anybody's brakes. They'll lock the tires up regardless. It was good that International finally started copying the planetary final drives to get some beef back there and some weight back there. So yeah, and then I suppose the International guys can always talk about the polling circuit. But guys, like I said, have some fun, keep it clean, and let's just enjoy a little bit of camaraderie. Thank you very much for watching.